All right. Hello, everyone. I think we're live. Thank you all so much for being here. I'm so excited. First time having Nathe from Third Wish on the channel. How are you doing, my friend? Nice to meet you.
Likewise, Kevin, thank you so much for taking the initiative to reach out to me
Yeah.
and inviting me. That's something that is very nice of you. And of course, I knew about you and always kind of been watching with interest what you were doing. So I appreciate you took that step, which of course I was delighted to take. So thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity to meet your community, which I'm sure we have some overlap, but
I'm sure. And I'll just say for you, Nathe, I've been following you for a while, and your channel's really blown up. You're doing really good work, my friend. And I just love. I was telling Nathe a little bit before we went live. I just love how he receives the information just very grounded, but very direct with it too. And I really appreciate Nate's authenticity. I see that so clearly. So um, big fan of your work as well. And so I'm glad that we were able to come up with a show today.
yes, that's really exciting. And I have to say, like I remember a couple of times some subscribers or viewers who actually suggested
Oh yeah, I've
that.
had some suggestions as well.
Yeah, so I think they're the one who actually uh, are the viewers and know who they
Hmm.
want to see and who they want to see working together. So I feel like we also owe them that opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. And like I was saying too, I feel, and this is probably why people were suggesting it. I feel like energetically we're very similar in a lot of ways, even our like personalities in some ways too.
I feel so. I feel so. I think, I mean, the way that you come across to me is someone who listens, who have compassion, and uh, cares as much as the process and the way of doing things than
Mm,
the result itself. And so that matters to me as well.
absolutely. Well, since this is the first time you're on my channel, do you just would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself? Maybe anything that you have going on that you want to share with the community?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, I've at the root of it, I've always been an intuitive and a reader, but I really started like very early on. Like I remember, like 8 or 9 years old, I was uh, putting cards and reading cards, and it was playing cards.
Oh,
And so all
interesting.
my life, yes, all my life I've used card and intuition. And so I've been doing this for the last 5 years. I'm originally born in France, so I'm French, but I'm American as well. I'm dual citizen. I lived in the US for 20 years. I was
Mhm.
telling you before the show that I left in the first Trump administration.
Yeah,
So that
kind
was
of ahead
already.
of your time, right? Trendsetter.
Um, and I've, really kind of found this opportunity to connect with other readers and support our community so much. And it's true that I found the YouTube community very loving, very caring, and
Yeah.
that I think that's what gets me going. You were asking of what I have going on right now. I'll just say very quick. I'm very creative too, so I came up with the idea of a magazine.
Yes.
And so this one actually has my personal predictions for 2026 by signs in there, and then some cooking recipes and some other fun things. So
Yeah.
that's available on my site. A couple years ago, I created a tarot. It's the mystical tarot of the saints, using the saints energy for this tarot. And then just this year, something that easier to get into is an oracle deck with a theme of the whales.
Oh, beautiful.
Um, and so a lot of people have liked that this year recently. So just a little bit of promotion since you offered me,
Of
Kevin.
course. Of course. And I will say, Nath was so kind to send me a copy of his magazine, and I didn't read through it in depth, but kind of just skimmed through it, and um, very, 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 a lot of interesting, different, focuses for 2026 and ideas too. So I'm just very impressed by you're a busy guy, I can tell, right? You have a lot of
I
projects
I
and you
have a
have
bad
classes and all
habit
of that.
of overstepping, yes, of doing more than I can do. That's a very bad habit of mine. I
You're doing
also
the work though.
yes, yes, it's a lot of work. I actually admit something that we can discuss at another time where
Yeah.
I've always had some sort of interest for Reiki, but I haven't really pursued
Mm.
um, as much. So definitely looking forward also to learning from you and with you.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, we could definitely talk more about that at a later time if you'd like. Um, I'll say, yeah, how do I want to say this? In terms of everything that you have going on, I wish that I was a little bit more like that. Like, I just feel like for me, this last year has been so much about shifting and healing,
Mm.
and that's really been the priority. But I'm getting really excited now that I'm finally actually starting to look into 2026 and like all of these new ideas and plans and actually kind of just moving forward very empoweredly. Um, so
And
what you do is very inspiring for me. I'll just say that.
oh, but and I think there's a time. I think this is something also for the viewers is there's a time to think and create in your head, and there's a
Mm,
time to actually create in the 3D
active
world,
on it.
and those times are never the same. And so, based on your astrology, based on your energy, sometimes you are actually creating a lot. That might be your case, Kevin, where you created a lot. It was just not something that you could see in physical form.
Mm, yeah. Well, and I will say with a lot of the shifts in, I think November specifically, I've just been writing down everything, all of the ideas, all of the guidance, um, so that I can release it and then I can go back to it if it's important again later. So I have a lot of fun ideas going into 2026. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome.
And Janet just asked, could you include the link for your cards in your book? I believe, is it on the same link that you sent me to book a session?
Yes, I have a link tree. Actually, I don't have a website. It's a
Mhm.
simple link, but everything's on there.
Yes. And I have that in the description box, Janet. So if you want to
Okay.
check that out. All right. So I'll just briefly share for me before we get started with the readings. If you could all do me a big favor, please hit that thumbs up after the video posts, even like leave a comment, or there's a new hype feature, which really helps with the algorithms on YouTube. I know I've been struggling with it um, the last several months with just the algorithm. So would help me great. If you're not subscribed, please do so. And of course, go over to Nate's channel and support him. The Third Wish. Give him a subscribe. He does a lot of you're busy on YouTube. You do a lot of content. So go over there and give him a thumbs up and a comment too to help him out.
Well, and likewise, if you're here on this live, you came from my channel, then you know what to do
Yeah.
with
Well, and even a lot of my subscribers that have been following me for years have been telling me that YouTube's just unsubscribing them, or they've been unsubscribed multiple times. So I think just making sure that you just keep up with your favorite readers and content creators, making sure that you're still
yeah,
subscribed to their stuff really helps. Um,
yes.
I
Do
will
you?
just
Sorry to
sorry.
interrupt you, but
Mhm.
something that crossed my mind. And do you feel that maybe generally speaking, YouTube has been maybe less friendly with
Kind of like
light workers?
censoring
Yeah,
certain content. Yeah,
yeah,
I do.
yeah,
So by doing those things that I just said, like hitting the thumbs up, hype the video, leave a comment, it kind of overrides some of the censorship that we're experiencing here. And I know others in our community are as well.
yeah, yes.
Just a quick reminder for my members, tonight we're going to be getting together at 7 p.m. Eastern for our Reiki and Prayer Circle live show. Anybody would like to join, it is in the description box. Love to have you. Mel Dorr should be on my channel this Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be doing more politics. I'm sure there'll be a lot more to read on by then. The news cycles have been pretty busy lately. I'll probably try to do a solo show as well. I do have quite a few openings for my Reiki classes. So my beginner level, level 1 and 2, in January 2026. I have a class on January 10th and 31st. The first date is level 1, the second is level 2, and then a second class, January 11th to February 1st. And those are from 10 a.m. Eastern to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So long days, but a lot of fun discussions. And I think if you're feeling empowered and wanting to bring Reiki into kind of like closing out 2026 and inviting a lot of a lot of spiritual energy and positive perception to kind of create your 2026, Reiki can be a great tool for you for that. That's on my website. I do also have my next master level class, April 24th through 26th. Talk more about that later. And I have a Reiki share for level 2 practitioners or higher on January 17th, 5 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So I think that's about it. I have a lot of stuff I want to make sure that we hit.
You have quite a lot, Kevin.
Yeah, I've been trying to get busy as well, planning and also thinking about fun new shows too, which is why I reached out to you, Nate. So
awesome.
So anything going on that you want to read on before we get started? I have some questions that were sent in ahead of time, my own hits.
Well, I feel like maybe something that we could talk about is kind of I feel this is just my feeling, and I'm kind of curious to kind of compare that with what you feel. I felt like November was very intense, very heavy, lots going on. And when that early December energy, and it's almost feels like to me, just energetically talking politics primarily, it's almost like it feels like an energy of waiting for the shoe to drop. Do you have that feeling as well?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like things have calmed down a little bit, although there's still plenty of stuff going on, not to minimize what's going on. But yeah, it's almost like that anticipation of like something big. I'm almost feeling could even be later on this week or next week, like the middle of the month to like the end of the month being very, a lot of big stuff going on. But I really, and let me ask you how you feel about this, because I know we're picking up on like Trump's health and maybe not finishing out his full term because of the health. But my guides were saying that there was going to be a lot of big breakthroughs and, well, a lot of chaos and change between like fall of 2025 and into like March and spring of 2026 specifically. And I think that might be part of this anticipation, like, something it could happen at any point, in regards to Trump or the cabinet or Republicans, the MAGA movement. What are you picking up with that?
Yeah, that resonates with me, Kevin. I feel like, first of all, like even if we just look at December, it feels like it would be just shocking that we get to Christmas without anything big.
Yeah. I feel like in the teens of December.
Yes, like maybe I feel like, and it has been brought up, I forgot recently in one of my shows, but, in terms of like moon cycles and things like that, like that period between, let's just say like the 15th and the 22nd, if we had to kind of narrow it down, feels high energy, high risk as well, like playing with fire, if I kind of like, so I feel like there might be, some it could be a shocking revelations, or Trump acting completely in a very much more than usual erratic way, something like that.
Or both, right?
Both. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of resonates with me both. Interesting you were saying between them. I was actually picking up on the 18th, which is
right in the middle.
Right in the middle of where you're picking up. And I do feel like obviously a lot more of the Epstein stuff coming out. I do feel like we're going to hear more Republicans starting to either resign or, say that they're not running for re-election. A lot of them starting to break with the administration too. So it feels like it's the health. We're all seeing the decline of that. It feels like it gets more and more noticeable every day, right? More intense. So I think it's a combination of a lot of things.
Yes. On the health side, isn't that interesting that maybe a little bit of a new pattern here with him, where he gets to be much more sleepy,
Mm-hmm.
uh, falling asleep in meetings, and that, not being a doctor myself,
Yeah.
but it points, that's just pure intuition, but points to side effect of medicines, that
Mm.
maybe more medicine creating more side effects.
Yeah. And maybe certain medicines that he took in the past that kind of kept him energized, like very stimulant and medication, allegedly, um, with everything else, just kind of him crashing from that.
Yes, yes. It feels like there was a shift in terms of his treatment.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Well, and you know what? I do feel like where we're at now, and I know that Ness works with you often, and she actually said like the last 2 weeks of December are going to be almost like 2026, like the new year
Mhm.
kind of comes in a few weeks early, which I think is interesting. Um, and I haven't focused too much on 2026. I've had a lot of projects that I've been focusing in on 2025 still, but now kind of opening up and looking more into 2026. I'm feeling like the energy just feels very, very fiery,
Mhm.
actionable. Um, it's like this year's all been about like how we're feeling with this, and next year's all about like we're taking charge, kind of like revolution, rebellion kind of energy almost too, but very, very fiery, passionate energy coming in, but then also even more like fire in the sun. So um, a lot more shifts. I think a lot more things from space, kind of, from above, revealing itself too, um, and kind of bringing in like enlightenment. So sun and fire is kind of like enlightened action taking place. Is how I kind of view that. Um,
You kind of have that from two different angles. The first one is obviously like 2026 being a year one. Uh,
yeah,
so
absolutely.
that's already action, and actually it's a 10 going to 1, and the 10 is very karmic. But it's interesting what you said about the sun, and you might have seen the Airbus planes being grounded because of the software not adjusting well to the solar
Mm,
flare. So there was like, Boeing had its share of problems with their planes, but Airbus also, and it was about a software that was not working properly with solar flares.
oh,
And so
interesting.
talking
So a
about,
lot of disruptions there.
yeah,
Mhm.
fire, and I feel like we're gonna see in 26, and we've seen that, I feel, also in 25, but much stronger, like in the internet being down, the servers being
Mhm.
down, lots of maybe power being down. I've always felt personally what this reference of like 3 days of darkness,
Mm.
that it's actually not a spiritual, but well, of course it has a spiritual element, but I think maybe referring to
Like an
the dark,
actual physical,
yeah,
like
yeah, like
blackout.
dark light. Yes.
Yeah. It's interesting because I do feel like I agree in the sense of I don't know if I feel like it's like the whole world is blacked out. To me it almost feels like it's more scattered, like regionally. But but I do agree too, like a lot of disruptions to satellites and tech stuff. But it's interesting too because it's bringing in so much knowledge and wisdom and intelligence that I actually feel like there's a lot more advances with like the tech related and even health,
Hmm.
healthcare advances as well. So kind of interesting how it's there's a lot of major upgrades in that sense, but then even still kind of like reconfiguring with some of like the blackouts from it too.
Yes, yes. It's interesting when you said blackouts, it really resonated. And
Mm,
so I feel like it would not surprise me, like power grids being down, solar grids being
yeah.
down. Yeah.
So I want to ask you and get your thoughts on this with everything going on and more coming out about Hegseth and bombing the boats off of in the Caribbean and all of that. What's your feeling? Do you feel like there's going to be some big shifts in his cabinet, or even on the strikes? Like, what do you pick up with that intuitively, or if you want to throw cards?
I get the sense that actually he is in trouble himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I
agree.
would I feel more than his people. I feel like he's in front line. I mean, obviously, like it's full of lies. And I keep getting the sense that Trump will always do what he does, which is get his hand out and blame the other person. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
not take accountability.
I mean, like like that's very predictable. So, if you look at the record with Exet, you had like the whole way back when, like the whole secret information, like on WhatsApp or
Yeah, the
Signal,
signal gate. Yeah,
kind of same thing, frankly. Then you had the whole parade that was a complete disaster, and then you have this thing. I think I just can see in Trump's mind, it's like three strikes and you're out, kind
oh,
of a thing.
okay.
It's just, yeah,
Yeah. I do feel. I don't feel like he's going to be let go tomorrow, but I would say like in the next month or two, I do feel. My first card out is actually the abandoned card, Five of Pentacles, which can be a card of job loss here too. So I
yeah,
do feel like he's on his way out. But I agree with you. I do feel like there's a lot of legal trouble for him. And the thing is a lot of his administration, they don't. Trump may have presidential immunity, although I do see that being revisited at some point. Um, but those around him don't, right? So they're going to
yeah,
be the fall guys for um, all the illegal behaviors and power grabs and overdoing um, their authority and their roles. They're going to be the fall guys for it. um, I do feel like there is international charges are looking at Hegseth that way, although that feels like that may actually be like years out. Where I really see him getting in trouble is like this sharing communications documents through unsecured apps. That story's not over just yet.
no, because that might imply or involve foreign countries.
Yeah,
It's interesting. I mean, I was getting like the Five of Swords, Two of Swords, but an interesting card, the Queen of Wands here. Um, let's also not forget something that could resurface with him abusing, let's just say, women or having affairs or things of that nature, because there's been issues in the past and those things might very well resurface.
yeah, like big scandals coming up as well.
Yeah. And the drink,
Interesting.
yeah.
For a lot of Trump's administration and even Trump, I get that Queen of Wands energy come up against them all the time. So
Oh,
I almost wonder too if there's a significant female that um, is a big reason for kind of getting a lot of them out or their downfall of a lot of them. Interestingly enough, like that
it's
Queen of Wands always wants to pop out for me.
yeah. I've always wondered if it's like Pam Bondi being his downfall, because
Oh,
I mean,
interesting.
when it was something that we discussed on my show yesterday, where we do say, and I think there's an understanding of women will be taking him down. It's the woman will be taking him down, but possibly it could be an inside job.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. Well, something else I've been kind of picking up on, and actually I heard other psychics kind of validate this after I had brought it up. I think I shared it about 2 weeks ago. I have to be careful with how I say this on YouTube, but I'll code it for everybody and give you a heads up. Um, I do feel like there's another big attempt to unalive someone, and I wasn't
Mm,
necessarily feeling like it was Trump, although I wouldn't. I'm sure that there's always plans on that too. Um, I wasn't getting a strong hit either, or if it was actually somebody from the Republican side or the Democratic side, but it almost felt like it was maybe a Republican that's kind of shifted. I don't want to say Democrat, but has stood up against MAGA. So my first thought was maybe like something like MTG. Um, Again, not wishing for that, but I keep feeling this energy too. Like there's a big shocking, like another event, kind of like that.
wow, like similar to the ones that Trump had.
Yeah, or even CK.
Okay, okay. So of same nature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's been coming through the last few weeks, and I don't know if it's actually going to happen this month. Maybe it's more January, but um, just trying to prepare others for that possibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the energy, I mean, you were talking about fire energies.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, that would align with that. Yeah.
absolutely. Um, what else? I've got a bunch of questions here, and I have a couple started in the chat, but I don't know if I've heard you predict on this. And again, I have to be careful. This is all for entertainment purposes only, allegedly. But a lot of a lot of foul play and maybe past elections. I don't know. Were you picking that up for like 2024 or even information coming out about that?
Mm. Um, it clearly feels like there was definitely attempt
Mm-hmm.
to manipulate and change the outcome. I always kind of goes back to there's already one event that was already publicly uh, acknowledged that there was a foreign intervention to change the outcome of the result with those bomb alerts and bombing and calls and all of that. And that was actually acknowledged by the FBI. So there was already that going on where
Mm-hmm.
they were trying to scare people from voting, and that at least is the one outcome that I know has been publicly admitted, and I'm sure that there were others. Now, interestingly, when people ask me about do you see the same thing about the midterms, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel because we or they or there's a higher awareness that I don't think the same activities can be done for the midterms.
Not on a massive scale,
Yeah,
right?
well, of course they will be. They are always
There's some
element of
specific states
fraud.
that
Yeah,
are known for, and not to mention all of um, the gerrymandering and voter suppression and all of those other ways that they.
the voter suppression, the removing polls, the try to remove like mailing ballots and other ways. That's like within legal parameters, but I think we're talking about like
Manipulation, switching.
technological manipulations.
Mhm.
That I'm not feeling as much
Okay. Oh, for the midterms, you mean?
for the midterms. Yeah.
But I almost wonder too if there's a lot of changes between now and the midterms where it's not going to be like directly, like maybe Trump is no longer here. Kind of my feeling. I know you're
Possibly.
picking up more health related stuff with that, but
Yeah,
um,
it doesn't need to be gone. It could be out of power. I
yeah,
mean, something that I've always said,
you see him
um,
in a wheelchair.
I see in a wheelchair and I
Yeah.
see him coming out of surgery in a wheelchair. And I'm just fixated on that because every time I ask, that's what I see.
Mm,
And so if he's in a wheelchair, he might not be able to function, but it's still alive. But I also feel that Vance will be president for a short period of time.
Yeah. But do you even feel like he would be able to finish out the term?
Maybe not.
I have a hard time envisioning
Yeah, it's hard.
Vance as president, um, and that's not to say that he wouldn't be in there short, but I would agree if he does get in there, it's not for the rest of the term.
And I always like to kind of remind everyone that Kamala Harris was president.
Oh yeah, she was. Didn't Biden have a surgery or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah, she was president for a short
Mm,
period of yeah.
yeah, I'll say in regards to the question about if past manipulations come to the surface, I do feel like there is some stuff coming out there.
Oh,
I
maybe.
don't know exactly when. The timing's always the hardest aspect, but my first card out is the Steel, the Seven of Swords,
Hmm.
crossed by the Dictator, the Emperor, somebody that's controlling deals being made to me, with maybe other
Hmm.
foreign governments, billionaires. The tower is above this, so there is some kind of big, shocking explosion, um, a fall from grace, and then I actually have like communications and information coming out as the final outcome with the Eight of Wands. So I do feel like bottom of the deck, Wheel of Fortune. It's almost faded too, but I don't know. I feel like that actually might come out after Trump is gone.
It's always been a question of mind where it's almost like a race. What will come first?
Yeah, it's hard to tell, like, or what will actually really take him down. Because it's like there's so much energy there on all different fronts. It's hard to see which one actually like really
Yeah,
really
I,
stands.
it's very hard, with I think you relate to that. Like you can see those different energies, but they're a little bit in a race on different tracks. And psychic energy doesn't function in that linear way.
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
it's very hard to say who's arriving first to the finish line. I can't do that.
Yeah. Well, right, and there's also free will involved too. So we might pick up on something. Somebody does something to change that, but that doesn't mean
Yeah.
what we picked up on was wrong. It was maybe just the timing of it was wrong. And I'm actually going to use this as an example of something I predicted in the past, a question. Um, because when Mike Johnson was first elected speaker, I got the strong guidance that he that the House may actually turn blue and remove him as speaker. And obviously that didn't happen when he was first in there, but maybe the timing aspect of it shifted to now because we're hearing a lot of talk behind the scenes of Republicans stepping down or not running. Um, do you get a feeling if Congress may go blue before the midterms with so many retiring?
I'm not there.
Not
I'm
there
not
yet.
there. Yes, maybe I'll be there, but I'm not there. At this moment, I don't feel it.
Mm,
Um, I feel, though, that a ton of pressure on Johnson, a ton of
mm,
pressure.
yeah.
But I also feel the reason I'm careful about this is I also feel that the congressmen or women that are retiring could also be a way of bringing forward um, more Republicans as opposed to Democrats to replace them and
Hmm.
solidify. There could be, I wish in a way that
Excuse
it
me.
would be, yes, that it would give opportunities for Democrats to take, but I think they know what they're doing, and maybe it could be seen as well as a way to solidify the Republican positions. So
Mm,
I'm a bit careful with that. For sure, I feel the pressure on Johnson. Like every time I read on it, it's bad. It's really
yeah.
bad. Is he really out? I don't know. So I'm
You know
not
what I was
speculating.
picking up on Johnson is I actually felt like kind of going into this big energy of things shifting and all of that, like fall of 2025 into spring of 2026. Like January was coming through really strong where he's being really tested. And
Mm.
And I actually felt like MTG was going to start going against him, or might be the reason for his
Yeah,
downfall. But it's interesting that she's retiring, so maybe that's part of that. I also feel though that he's going to have a lot of issues if the government shuts down in January as well, which I'm kind of feeling like there might be another short shutdown,
I
unfortunately.
feel that there will be. I felt there will be a short one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's interesting because I've read on MTG before her retirement
Announcement.
announcement. So that was completely blind because I didn't know about the retirement or what would happen. But someone was asking me about her future, and I said, I see her splitting MAGA and taking a
Yeah,
part of MAGA under her wing. So that retirement, maybe that feels like it's a retirement out of her Congress position, but not of politics.
yeah, I agree. I don't feel like she's done with politics.
No.
But I also feel like a lot of the Republicans see the writing on the wall, and there's a lot of fear there for their own
Mm.
political futures,
Yeah. Yes.
as we've seen in some of how close some of the previous elections have been. Um, and I think also too, a lot of them may know some of the stuff that's going to come out. They see Trump's declining health, and so they're coming up with a plan on after Trump, what's my future look like, right? So they're being calculated politically there, because I feel like once Trump's out, the whole MAGA movement, and the Republican Party, because I would say overall the whole party's included in that movement. It's really kind of shifted that way. I see a total implosion there, where it's going to break up into like smaller groups, like you said. Maybe MTG forms a faction out of like
Hmm.
MAGA after it implodes. Um,
And I felt
but
like there
without
would be
Trump
more
there, it's going to just
with
it's
Trump.
going to be civil war within the party.
Trump unifies everyone, and that's what you have when you kind of have the cult leader, frankly.
Yeah.
And then when that cult leader, usually in organization, there's like a competition between the different, like you said, factions who
Mm,
want to get the lead.
yeah.
So I think it will be quite difficult to keep everyone united
Mm,
because, frankly, this group of people is not unified. You have uh, evangelicals, you have um, hardcore racism. You have, I mean, you just have kind of like a bunch of people
the
that are coming
Nazi
from different
movement,
things.
neo-Nazi
Yes,
parties.
neo-Nazi
Yeah.
and white supremacists. I was looking for that.
Hmm.
Different movement, but they're not really quite the same. And so those could be kind of going back to their own groups. Yeah,
It's
because
like
they
Trump
are,
hate. It's Trump's hate as the leader kind of unites them all, but when it's over, it's all kind of just goes back, to what it was before he kind
yeah,
of picked up on that. Yeah.
yes, and some of them are like the tech bros, which have nothing to do with some others. So they have different agendas. They are different
Yeah.
people. And so it's like a puzzle. How you call it? Like patchwork.
Mm, yeah. It will be very interesting. And I'm not just saying it's just exclusively for the Republican Party, because we're seeing the Democratic Party in a bit of an identity crisis of who's leading that right now too, right? And a big divide in within the Democratic Party.
That's true. I think it's also, I mean, the way that obviously we see it is more like, center Democrats that believe that um, we need to bring more Republicans our side. And so, in order to bring Republicans our way, we can't really push too far.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as opposed to much more progressive Mandani like energy, where like, well, the only way voters will come back to us is if we actually implement big changes that make
Yeah.
big changes for
That
people's
actually
lives.
help the working class
Yeah,
people that are desperate need of, they want their government to work for them. That's why both parties are, if you look at polling, are so unpopular, because they think that everybody is just out for their own interests and not for their constituents. And to a degree, on both
It's
sides,
true.
that it's true on both sides for some, not everybody, but
No, no. And I feel like, I mean, that's not a psychic opinion. Well, you could say it's a psychic opinion, but also personal opinion. Is I don't think we're gonna win by playing safe.
no, absolutely not. You really need to meet the importance of this moment and match the same energy, right? And I see Democrats. Well, we're already seeing that in with some of the candidates, really kind of working on the messaging. I mean, look at Gavin Newsom kind of trolling Trump, which I think is hilarious. You have fiery energies, AOC, Bernie going out in rural America and getting big crowds, Mandami. So we're seeing that, but it's almost like a lot of like the old guard Democrats. I feel like are going to be pressured to either not
Yeah,
run or meet the moment, right?
I feel like this might be a fear of, you know, because frankly, and that's also what I feel, is that a lot of those Democrats that are more center based, it's not so much that they don't have the beliefs of the more progressive ones, but they're afraid to come out and say those things
Mm-hmm.
openly because they're afraid that it might shock their constituents, or they might lose a portion of people that are more middle of the road. But I think it's misguided.
Oh, for sure. Because how many people don't vote in the states? And if you had that excitable candidate that you really believed in that's going to bring in change for you, there's a whole group of people that you can attract that aren't usually voters, right?
Exactly, Kevin. And then if you, I mean, look back the other side, do you think that's more of a rhetorical question? Do you think Trump went middle of the road?
No. No.
It's
And
like
why do you think he's got such that cult following there, right?
he went all the way to a certain belief and just went for it, and he got rewarded for authenticity.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
Well,
it believed in it or not, it sounded for some people believable.
yeah. Well, and it was very similar to Bernie Sanders in
Yeah,
2016 when he was running against Hillary. I think it would have been really interesting if he would have actually won the nomination because you would have had two polar opposite candidates of change. And I think well, we learn a lot through all of the adversity and troubles, and in that sense, Trump is serving his purpose. But I think it would have been really interesting if you know
I feel the
the
same.
change agent on our side actually made it right.
It could have brought a different outcome.
Yeah, for sure.
And to some degree, it's also a feeling, but also an intuition, but maybe fact based, is that Kamala Harris would have probably wanted to do a more progressive campaign, but she was held up by certain constraints.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and it goes to too, you know, having money in politics and those big donors and corporations that often buy elections. So who are they really working for? Are they working for all of us or are they working for these big corporations? And that's definitely going to be something that's
yes,
revisited in the future about getting big money out of politics.
yes, yes.
All right. So what are you feeling about all of the gerrymandering and map redrawing and all of that? Do you feel like obviously Texas is allowed to do that according to the Supreme Court, but we're seeing blue states kind of counter that. Do you Are you feeling like 2026 there's going to be a shift in power like we said? Maybe even before that, with people resigning, but what are you feeling for like the midterms in 2026 with all the redistricting?
I'll tell you what I like. It's pretty basic, but when I first kind of tuned in and asked what is the outcome of this whole gerrymandering, redistricting, what I heard was like it doesn't matter.
Mm,
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the house will be blue. It
mm,
doesn't matter. And maybe there's some truth to that we could be worried about all this, but will it really matter? Because frankly, you can cut the pie many way you want. If the opinions are against you or for you, they are for you.
Right.
You know,
I like that too. And I would agree. I do see the house turning blue, and I'm feeling more and more optimistic about the Senate too. It's a tough map for Democrats to actually regain control, but I'm actually, I think, with some of the candidates coming in um, and some of the red states, and I just think like the overall opinions of the Republican Party right now, I'm actually feeling cautiously optimistic about the Senate too.
it's interesting because I um, I've been a bit back and forth about the Senate.
Mm,
At first, I couldn't, like for a long time, I couldn't see anything. Then I felt more blue. And then more recently, like I would say in the past week, I was not so sure. And I'm
mm,
just saying that in full transparency because I
yeah,
think the energies are really, really shifting and it's super early. And so I'm sharing more as a evolution of a field than an actual prediction at this moment.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's fair too, because how much time do we have before the midterms? And
Yeah.
like we said, there's free will here. Things can shift, you know, and there's so much big, heavy energy there. It's sometimes hard to see clearly through all of the muck. Like I
Mhm.
said, you know, it doesn't always come in crystal clear like that. So, but I'll say I've been feeling more optimistic about even the Senate, um, which I think is interesting. I agree with you though. It almost feels like all of the redistricting and map redrawings and all that. I almost feel like it may actually backfire on Republicans because maybe sure, like Texas can draw 5 safe seats by splitting things up, but then your other red seats that are normally safe for you, you have to redraw it where they're going to be even more competitive too. So maybe they get 5 guaranteed seats and they lose 5 seats, you know, because the turnout's so high. I'm
You
almost
have
feeling it backfiring majorly. And Democratic states actually, I'm feeling like 3 blue states actually changing their maps before the
oh,
midterms.
yeah, that could be. I mean, you're right. I think what I was hearing when you were saying that is like Pandora's box. You open the box,
Yeah.
you don't know what you're gonna find there, and I feel like that's really, I think a double. Let's just put it this way: a double-edged sword
Yeah,
for
for
the
sure.
Republican Party. Yes.
Yeah. Somebody sent in a question here, and we've been on for almost 50 minutes. I typically like to keep it around an hour. So is that fine with you? Like another question or two?
Of course, of course.
We were kind of talking about Hegseth earlier, but who do you feel like is the first of Trump's cabinet to go? It's always hard to pinpoint the timing of who will be the first, but I have a couple ideas for a few of them.
Well, this goes back to a little bit of a discussion earlier with that race. They're all like racing, but you just don't quite know which one's gonna arrive first. Um, I think it's a race between Bondi and Exit.
Interesting. I do feel well, and they're saying Christy Nome now too might be actually leaving. I feel like Bondi may be in there a little bit longer, although, like I said earlier, it feels like anybody really like tied in deeply to Trump, they're going to have a lot of challenges after he's gone. But I was almost feeling like is it Kash Patel or Hegseth?
Yeah. Patel, I would have actually thrown him in the basket as well because, like, the word that I hear when I see him is shady, shady, shady.
Oh, for sure. But can I share a hit with you that I got on Kash Patel leaving and let me know what you think? I got a hit that he may actually he may not be fired. He may actually leave on his own, but I feel like he's gonna be a total turncoat even after like going against Trump because he's left on such bad terms. And he's like I said, when Trump's gone, he's going to be desperate to save himself. So making deals and sharing information.
That's interesting. Um,
I don't feel
so
that way about Hegseth
no, or
or some of
except
the
my
others.
actually, I feel like except my resign,
Mm. Like the pressure gets continues
he
to build.
wouldn't he wouldn't let himself get fired.
Mm. Yeah, well, and maybe that's the same thing with Cash too, because I actually felt like he might actually be leaving rather than getting fired.
Yeah,
But I do think Christine Ohm's in the mix too. Like I said, I did hear about her possibly being fired. The one that's standing out at the most out of the three, though, is Hegseth
yeah.
leaving first.
I just feel like there's more strikes against him. Yes.
Hmm. And the thing with him too is, like you were saying earlier, um, Trump needs a fall guy, right?
Well, it doesn't need one. You're always gonna find one.
He's gonna find one, right? But he's not gonna be caught up in this mess. You could already, and to be fair too, not to say that Trump didn't know about these strikes or isn't a big part of that, but the particular strike about hitting the boat twice and like the war crimes with that, I know that the general said it didn't come from Hegseth, but I actually feel like it came directly from
Oh yeah,
Hegseth, was my intuitive impression.
yeah. Not surprising. The other thing that I would say, since we're talking about those guys
Hmm.
um, and ladies, um, is that I am certain that there's like recording,
Oh, of
taping
the
a
strike?
conversation, or like Trump, like I keep getting the sense like he is not careful, which we know is not.
Yeah.
And so it's being taped, it's being recorded, and there's some stuff like those cabinet members, they are either writing books, recording conversations. I mean,
They have their
there's
insurance policies is what I heard.
I mean, like, don't you feel, Kevin? I
Yeah.
mean, to me, that is so clear.
Yeah, well, and maybe that goes into Blake Patel flipping on him too, right?
Yes,
They have some of their needed insurance policies to either save their jobs or you know, to save themselves if they go down with the sinking ship.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, so I feel like this is an area of weakness for Trump
Mm-hmm.
because that goes back to Anna's question. Once someone leaves, it's like, it's the domino effect in it. It's the castle of cards, and the final card on top doesn't stand on top by itself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, the implosion of the whole movement, right? I feel like we've been seeing that for years in some aspects, but it feels like the house of cards is going to be falling down very soon.
Yes, yes. Funny you say House of Cards because
Hmm.
it's so well done.
Well, you were just talking about that kind of. So, do you feel do you feel like the bill for like eliminating dual citizenship will pass, or even like the birthright citizenship?
I certainly hope not, because that I would be impacted
Yeah.
personally. But I don't feel so. Like, I don't see that going all the way. But will there be restrictions? Yes, I feel
Mm,
like they're going towards restrictions. And so it doesn't need to be completely removed to make things so hard that you don't want to go to the bother of
of all the work and the
having,
headache to do
yeah,
that.
um, because I mean, like, maybe it's known or maybe it's not, but as a dual citizen, if you, it's the US or one country where if you are out of the country a whole year, you still need to pay taxes to that country, even if you pay taxes to the other country you're in.
Yeah.
Particularly, like, you can be double taxed.
Yeah.
So they could play with that.
I agree with you. I do feel for like the dual citizenship, maybe some changes there. I don't see them getting rid of that, but like you said, maybe making it harder.
Yes.
putting more roadblocks in the case for that. But I don't see for birthright citizenship, I do not see that being changed right now. I don't even
No.
think the Supreme Court, I think it's very clear in the Constitution that I don't even think the Supreme Court would mess with that. But I agree with like the dual citizenship, not completely removing it, but making it harder to maintain. Some
Yeah.
rule changes there.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Any is there anything that you want to ask me or any questions that you want to read on real quick before we wrap up? I feel like we've covered a lot.
We did, and we did. It flew quite well. Let me try to kind of get a bit of an odd question for you, just for kicks, you know. Um, oh yeah, Kevin, do you feel that um, there will be some sort of acknowledgement of UFO activity publicly in 2026?
In the United States or just in the world?
I was thinking the US, but
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
whatever
I
you.
do feel like there's more. Well, and it kind of goes into that sun energy too that I
Mhm.
was alluding to earlier for 2026. I think a lot more sightings. I don't know if 2026 is that year of disclosure of how other psychics or channelers predict it. Um, it feels like it's a continuum and kind of continuing to build with more information coming out. But I do feel like yes, there's going to be public disclosure from the government, more information kind of leading up to that disclosure event in 2026.
I think so too.
Mm-hmm.
And strange, I'm getting like from the FBI.
Oh, interesting.
I don't know
I'm
why.
almost feeling like what most people are describing disclosure, what's really standing out to me on my radar is 2027, but it's like a build up to get to that point.
Yeah. It just feels odd that Patel would be the one talking about UFOs. It just
I
doesn't.
don't see that. Do you?
Oh, no.
Well, and even we've had some congressional hearings on it too, and it feels like even more continuing of like that, more
Yeah,
information, sightings and recordings and all of that being released as well. But also, I do feel like more sightings of ships as well, and
okay.
that's obviously throughout the whole world, right?
Yeah, I mean, we already seen like quite a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think a lot of our ET friends are making sure that we don't blow ourselves up or destroy the planet, right?
Hmm.
They don't like to interfere if they don't interfere with our free will, but if it comes to destroying humanity, they'll intervene.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I think they don't act at every turn, but
Hmm.
when they feel like something really massive or impactful, they act. And
Yeah,
it could be, in my view, like that's why you can see some weather events that are happening, and
yeah.
maybe some that are not because they're stopped.
Well, and it was interesting this year too because I was picking up a lot of flooding and a lot of water
Yeah.
events, but I was even feeling we had quite a few close calls with hurricanes where they kind of shifted out of nowhere. And I don't know if
Mm,
that's what I would say ET's intervening, although it wouldn't surprise me, but I also think the power of our collective prayers
yeah,
and visualizing it kind of going out, um, making a big impact with that as well.
I think that's a perfect way to end the show, Kevin.
Yeah. I had such a great time, Nath.
Likewise.
Thank you so much for coming on the channel, and I'll be on your channel in January, so I'm
Yeah,
looking forward to that. And yeah, I'd love to have you back on sometime too. Maybe we'll talk
of
more
course.
about that afterwards, after the show. So
Yeah. And thank you, everyone who joined, and happy holidays to you.
yes, happy holidays, everyone. If you're not subscribed to Nath's channel, I have his channel in the description box. Please go subscribe, support him. He's amazing. And also, if you're interested in any of his products or a reading, his magazine, I have his link tree in the description box as well. All right.
Thank you, Kevin.
Of
And
course.
yes, if you were here coming from my channel and for some odd reason you didn't were not aware of Kevin's channel, which I don't believe, then make sure you do the same. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Nate. All right, everyone. You all take care. I'll see you later tonight, members, at 7 p.m. And I'll see the rest of you on later on this week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.